This is 1252 Sports Chicago.
Welcome to Sport Court with Angelo Ace Camacho at 1252 Sports Chicago.
What's up, everybody? My name is Angelo Ace Camacho, and this is another edition of the Sport Core podcast. I am your host. Along with me, my buddy from 1252, Alan Bratchett.
What's
you can
happening?
find him over on That Bears Fan with a Brain on Facebook. And Alan, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm fantastic. How are you, man?
Oh, it's good. It's good, man. It's a beautiful day outside until it rains in like an hour and a
I
half.
was going to say, it's not here. It's raining. It's gray as hell. It's horrible here.
Yeah, it was a nice day out here, but it's supposed to rain within the next hour. So if you guys start hearing some thunder and lightning, that's what it is. It's not just our fiery takes.
Not our spitting hot fire.
That's right. So, man, a lot of stuff happened today. Well, let's break it down. So we had our show Thursday, and then over the weekend, rookie minicamp started and all that stuff, and voluntary workouts and all that. Justin Fields did an interview. Matt Nagy did an interview. So there's been a lot of stuff on the Bears front, and we're definitely going to get to all that. We got Erik Lambert from Sports Mockery jumping on around 7:30. So we'll have plenty of time to talk Bears. But before we get into the Bears talk, the White Sox, man, your main Mercedes, the Yerminator, pissing a lot of the old school baseball guys off, right?
Pissing everybody off. That's not younger than, or probably older than 45, I'd say. Yeah.
It's so ridiculous, man. We have that. And then some Wrigley Field legends returned. Absolutely. Kyle Schwarber and John Lester. So I'll let you start. Where do you out of those two, the Schwarber and Lester and your main Mercedes, which one you want to touch on first?
I gotta drive the Mercedes first, I think.
All right. So
there's a lot to hash out on that. Andrew Tarville and the Cat already saying it.
Yes, right here, man. Right, for real. For those of you that aren't familiar with what happened yesterday, the White Sox were winning 15-4.
Yeah,
I believe it was in the sixth inning. Was it something like that? 6 or 7. So they were winning by a lot, right? And your main Mercedes comes up. Mind you, this is a guy who fought his way to make a pro MLB roster, and it's not guaranteed for him. He's taken every at bat with as much heart that he can. Comes up, the White Sox are winning. The Twins have some positional player in pitching to save their arms, and it's a slow pitch.
47 miles an hour.
47 miles an hour, and he crushed it over the fence for a home run. And a lot of the old school baseball guys are pretty pissed about that. They think, hey, you should have just stood there and not swung, I guess. I don't know.
So let him strike you out. Okay, so first of all, hitting a 47 mile an hour pitch, it may sound like that's like something that's like easy, but the less speed you have on a ball, the less velocity you have it going out. So the faster the pitch, the more chance of it going out farther. Right. So the fact that he did that alone is strength out of your mind hard to do. Like it's hard to hit a baseball like that going that fast. First and foremost, that's fucking impressive. Yeah. I'm not even mad. Like, I'm impressed. Like, he's a big, strong dude. Okay. Unwritten rules, right? I think we're all tired of them.
Especially in baseball, man. Like, that's all you hear about all the time. Every year, it's the same bullshit, right?
Yes.
Unwritten rule this. Oh, well, you can't do this and blah. If you want to win a game, you win a game, right? My thought process is if you don't want the guy to hit a home run when you're losing by 12 runs, then don't be losing by 12 runs.
Manage your pitching staff better. There's a lot of things you can do there. Angelo.
Forfeit the game if you don't want to sit there and watch.
Only you could. Yeah. I mean, and so the thing for me, and it's something I kind of touched on you with earlier. It's these guys are in arbitration all the time.
Yeah.
Most of these guys are. Your main is a special case because he's 28 now. He's on a 1-year deal. He's making like $570,000 or something. This guy's playing for a contract.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what do you expect him to do? Like, he is trying his best to put up the best numbers he can so he can get the most money possible. The only way to do that is to go 110 all the time. And he even said today in his interview, I'm going to do me, even though he talks in third person, which is kind of weird to me. He says, I am going to do me all the time. Okay, that's what I want out of anyone on my team. I want somebody who's going to go out all the time, who's always trying their hardest to put out the most they can. That's all you can ask for as a fan. And for me, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I don't care what it was like in 1962 or whenever. I'm over that. Let's get with the times, guys. Like, thank God for the White Sox. And I'm a Cubs fan first, obviously, but I love the way that the White Sox act. I love their attitude. I love their swagger. I love everything they do. And that's what we need more in baseball, man.
The White Sox, what's their slogan right now? Change the game, right?
Change the game.
And that's what this team is doing. This team has so much swagger. And I'm not even a White Sox fan. I'm a Cubs fan. It's, well documented on this network that I'm a diehard Cubs fan.
Yeah. You and me both, brother.
White Sox team is fun to watch, man. They got that swagger. They got that we're going to beat you and we're going to beat you good and we're not afraid to. I mean, you don't get to be first place in the division doing that. And I looked it up, and I believe their run differential going into tonight is something nuts, like 73.
Yeah, it's the best in baseball.
Yeah, it's insane. I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it is, and I can't find where I had that, but I know it's. I'm pretty sure it was 73 is the run differential. That's insane.
It's insane. Yeah. But that's the kind of team that you want. I mean, the only negative about that to me would be is if you have like the Cubs do sometimes where they blow it up and they get 10 runs and then they can't hit the rest of the time. That's not the case with the Sox team.
No, not at all.
It just seems like they're on and they're not letting off that train. And I don't want them to.
Yeah,
I don't.
So they are plus 73 in the run differential. That's insane to me.
Crazy.
The Cleveland Indians, for people wondering, they're plus 7 in run differential. So, and that's the same division. So let that sink in where this White Sox team is with how much they're just destroying the baseball right now.
Yeah, which I love. I love that, and I don't want it to stop. I want every team to be like this. Yeah, let's hope going forward we can.
So Alan and I were talking before the show, and we'd like to hear from you guys watching.
Yes, we will.
In the description, there's a link to hop on the StreamYard with us if you want to jump in and talk. That goes for anybody.
All fans invited.
Chubbs, I know you were.
I hope Chubbs is here.
Yeah, me too. We'll have Chubbs.
Is he here? I hope he is.
I got so many platforms going right now. I'm not sure where everybody's at, but Tarbill, if he wants to jump on for a couple minutes, I'm cool with that too. I want to hear from all of you guys. After we get Erik on, we'll talk some Bears, and then after that, we'll definitely just jump right back into this unwritten rules stuff, And
yes,
I'm cool with that. Another storyline for Chicago baseball is the return of the great John Lester and Kyle Schwarber, and watching the game last night, it was kind of bittersweet for me. You see a guy in John Lester who was on the mound for your team and literally the biggest moments for your franchise in the last 108 years.
Yeah.
And now he's suited up for somebody else. You know what I mean? And it was a little bittersweet for me. I understand can't hold on to everybody all the time, but he was somebody I felt they could have kept for at least one more year. I don't think he's playing more than this year.
No.
I think it would have been nice to just let him ride off wearing the Chicago Cubs pinstripes and blue, but hey, I don't control the finances. So,
but okay, so here's the thing about that. There's a couple ways to look at this. So for me, starting one, he's making $2 million this year. Like you're not going to tell me that you couldn't find $2 million to scrape off the ground for this guy,
yep.
who's giving you everything. That's kind of the meathead side for me. Going, okay, well, he's a guy who's been here forever. Let's hold on to him. I wasn't mad when they got rid of him because I thought that maybe we could get something a little more current and better.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked it up, and the guy has a better ERA than all of our starters. Granted, he's been hurt. He's pitched 21 innings, and I think our guys are around in the 30s. But he has a better ERA than all of our guys, all of them.
Yeah.
And that right there tells me something. That tells me that, are we going in the right direction? It's hard to tell.
It is.
I still think it's time to blow this team up. I've been saying that, and I'm not coming off of it because they don't show me enough every day, to really make me think any other way than that. That's just my take on this. And
now I'll say this. Their hitting has been better when they had guys like Matt Duffy in the lineup. And
I'm not a big Duffy fan.
Marisnik, when he was healthy.
Yeah.
They kind of – I'm not a huge Duffy guy either, but they're guys that they're not that boom or bust mentality. You know what I mean? They look to get on base and make something happen. I was at the game a couple weeks ago, and they had 9 hits, and all of them were singles. Like that's not normal for the Chicago.
That's small ball baseball.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's where I think this team has to go, man, is this – it doesn't all have to come at once. If you get 2 runs in the first inning, 2 runs in the third inning, 4 runs, later on, like there's ways to build upon a lead that this Cubs team just doesn't do. It's either
home run or nothing.
The bases and hit a home run, or we'll strand the bases loaded. One of the two.
Be lucky to even have the bases loaded hitting a home run. Like,
right.
I feel like this team is the king of the solo home run. That's just the way I mean, and I'm not a guy who watches even every day because I get kind of bored. Just like, we talked about, like, there's not that White Sox swagger kind of stuff with this team. And it's hard to watch a baseball game. Last night, I watched that whole game last night because just of the storylines alone, they had their new pitcher that they brought up. His name is, I'm not remembering it at the moment. It'll probably pop in there last minute, but he pitched very well.
Elsaleh?
No. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but he was dynamite last night. Like he came in the 9th inning, just completely tore it up. But there were so many storylines with Schwarber coming in and about how Bryant left candy out for him out at left field. Just like seeing those guys still have that camaraderie, even though they're not playing for the same team, was a special kind of thing to see. That they had the video tribute for them and all that stuff's great. But going forward, what do we need to do so we get this team back to those kind of days? And that's a massive question.
Well, and you're right. Like that's been the question here. Mike and I have discussed it plenty of times on the Fat Mike Chicago show. We've talked about it. We've had guys on to talk about it. The team is like you said, boom or bust.
Yeah. And
it's never clutch when you need them to be clutch.
No.
And our boy Chubbs is here.
Yes, Chubbs.
Finally. But
Chubbs, we need to get you on tonight, buddy. You can hop in that stream link tonight. We will debate. I will definitely love debating with you.
Yeah, man, get him on and we'll chat it up. Like I said, guys, our goal here tonight is we got Eric. We're going to talk a little bit about the Bears, and then Al and I are just going to bullshit sports, man. If
we're going to improv. We're just going to go
with us. Let's do it. Yes. I mean, no take is the wrong take on this show. I mean, keep it respectful, obviously,
please.
But we have boundaries, and we will drop you. But but back to the Cubs, man. It's like Mike and I have talked about it since 2017. These bats, even if you think about it, in 2016, the whole playoff run.
Yeah,
there were games where they didn't hit it all. Also, and
it's always been the narrative. And I mean, I think 2016 was just the year that they figured it out. more times than not. But I don't even know if the teams they were playing really had an answer for what they were doing on a day-to-day basis. After 2016, a lot of teams adjusted to them, and it just came out kind of ugly.
Right, like especially guys like Rizzo and Bryant, they kind of really started to trend downward. Bryant this year is completely different than he's been the last
night and day. I was ready at the beginning of the year. I was ready to ship him out of town. I was ready to keep Javi Baez and try to sign Rizzo to anything close to a team-friendly deal, which isn't probably going to happen.
Right.
But now I'm like sitting here like, do we keep him? Like, has he shown enough to do that? But I feel like he might be one of those guys where as soon as we pay him, he's going to go back to the old guy. And then he's not going to be, producing. And we're going to have a whatever $200 million guy who is fucking batting like 230. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't really want that. No, you can't. Like, there's just so many good players on the market this offseason. I feel like they have to explore that avenue. If you can get a haul for Chris Bryant today, take it. 100% take it.
Absolutely. Like I heard, we've heard the rumblings that the Yankees are in on him.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that they would trade Gleyber Torres for a Chris Bryant, right? But I would love it too. But I do not see any scenario where that's the situation.
Not a bit.
Now, like you said, I think Bryant's going to want too much money, and in the spot you're in as an organization with the Chicago Cubs, you have to look for cost-effective players, guys that you can, use that are going to produce, but also allow you that flexibility to get other players in the future. Because right now, as much as I love this team, they are not built to win a World Series.
No, they're not. But, okay, so you say that, but there's a couple things that are predicated with that. So, for starters, are we going to have max capacity? Is it going to be, if you're vaccinated, you're allowed in at max capacity? That's a massive part in this because a lot of people this offseason were complaining, screaming, yelling. I was one of them, that we weren't spending money. But the way that they set their system up was all predicated on them having fans in the stands every day. Which, if you don't have that, obviously things change.
Right. And with how much money they spent in renovations to renovate the whole area around Wrigley Field, to renovate Wrigley Field itself.
Arizona,
right.
Everything they have there.
There's talk that they're so far in debt that it's hard to kind of get you to where you need to be.
Yeah. But somebody like me and you don't understand that every day because we're not making billions of dollars.
Yeah. As much as I'd like to say I am, I'm not.
The meatheads in us are like, why don't you spend fucking money, guys? Yeah. Like, you got the money in your pocket, spend it. Who cares about your yacht? Give me a baseball player. But it is what it is with that. Like, so that, and I think they're going to need a big name because they're going to drop a name this year. It's going to happen. Someone's
and our guy Chubbs thinks that it's going to be our boy Rizzo.
He might be right. He might be right because Rizzo's the guy that's he's a little older than these guys. Yeah, I mean, he's the locker room guy. He's the leader. So you're going to have to replace that. You're going to have to replace that name with a big name. Now, that brings me to the fact that if there's all these shortstops out there on the market, why would you keep Chris Bryant and Javi Baez? Because you could have one of them play second or third. Well, actually, no. I'm taking second out because Nico Horner, that guy's a stud.
He'll be the everyday.
He's not going anywhere.
No.
But you need a third baseman, or you put Bryant in the outfield, and you'd have to get somebody who could play third base. Like maybe, I don't think Trevor Story could, but like maybe somebody like that who's like a big name that can hit the ball consistently. Like, I'd have to get the rundown of it, but there's enough shortstops out there for somebody to please jump on that and bring a big name here.
The good thing about Chris Bryant, right, is he can play so many different positions. Not that Javi can't, but
Javi can play second
in the infield, right?
Yeah, like
the
Javi
infield
played second a lot. But
I know he played third base a couple times. Last year?
Yeah,
but
he could do it. But
Bryant can give you that versatility in the outfield and in the infield. You know what I mean? And he's somebody, the way he's hitting, Javi's just looks lost at the plate. I mean, he's swinging at everything.
He looked good last night.
He did.
Wasn't too bad last night.
But that's the thing.
He's
just like this team where some nights he looks great, other nights he looks completely lost and confused.
Inconsistency.
Yep.
Across the board. And that's something that they have to get away from. And they have to know what kind of team they are. And
right.
I feel like they don't even really have a real identity. They're just kind of hovering over 500, and I don't see that changing. I think it's going to be the same thing all year long. I actually picked them to win. I picked them to win 84 games, and I picked the White Sox at the time. I wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid, and I picked them to win 85. So I'm an idiot. I don't know baseball.
I don't think you're an idiot. I just think that a lot of people were skeptical about the whole Tony La Russa thing.
That's what put me on the fence, which is something that we didn't even really get into, is that, you know, now that Tony La Russa he's come out on your main and said that he's going to be dealt with internally in the family. You already have rifts. I think Eaton came out today and said that he doesn't agree with it. You've already got a rift on this baseball team. How does that change going forward? What is Tony going to do really to this so everybody's happy? I don't see an answer.
So I read the whole, like his whole comment about the situation. To me, maybe I'm trying to be an optimistic guy here, not to create rifts in any situation, but he kind of chalked it up to, okay, your main's a first year guy. He didn't read my sign. I said take on 3-0, which usually, that's that unwritten rule that the unwritten rule is you take a 3-0 pitch. You know what I mean? And maybe he's more upset at the fact that this rookie came up and didn't follow his signs. I think it's a bad look for La Russa in this locker room that people already wondered how he would adapt to it. But now you're coming in there and you're just throwing gasoline on a fire that you don't need to. You're supposed to be the guy that comes in there and that's going to help these swagging out players be able to feel comfortable doing that. Yeah.
He's supposed to unify this team, and instead he's separating it 110%.
And didn't he say something about Tim Anderson last year with the bat flip stuff? Yeah. I mean,
he's not a fan, but he went back on that a little bit now, and he's okay with that because he has to be, because if he's not, he probably wouldn't have got hired. I mean, honestly, like him going in and just, trying to be Grandpa Tony and fucking act like this does not help this team. Like, you can't control a locker room the way you could 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Like, it's not the same game now. And I don't think he realizes that still. He thinks he's the guy who's just going to call all these shots and everything is going to go the way he wants it to go. And it's not that way anymore. That's not the way baseball's run. Baseball's run with a committee of people. It's not all the manager.
Right.
It all comes back to the signing of Tony La Russa, and I still think it's going to be that at the end of the year. It's going to be the same shit at the end of the year. But
my thought process with the Tony La Russa signing is the same thought process I have with Dalton versus Fields, right?
Yeah.
Like, how much do you expect to get from a guy who's at the age of Tony La Russa? What'd you say he is, 73?
He's up there, yeah.
Something like that.
I think he's older than that, actually.
I think you're right. I want to say like 76.
I think he's closer to 80, yeah. I think he's 76 or 77.
Wait, what do you expect from a coach at that age?
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Like, Joe Madden wasn't that way for the Cubs.
Right, but Joe Madden also didn't take 10 years off before he decided to come back into coaching. That's the difference.
True. Very true. Imagine Joe Madden running.
Cardinal said he's 78 years old.
Okay, yeah, I thought he was close to 80. Yeah, he should be in a retirement home.
Yes,
right now.
Like you said, Madden. Yeah, but the difference is Madden came from one program.
Yeah,
and was coaching. Then he came to the Cubs and was coaching. Now he's in Los Angeles and he's still coaching. He's up to date on all this stuff, current baseball, right? He sees where that trend is. I mean, when he was in Chicago, he read a book about how to manage millennials. Remember, that was the big thing going into the offseason a couple years ago. And like, you got a guy in La Russa who hasn't been in the coaching position in 10 years, coming into a new, completely different league. Nothing is the same. 10 years from now, if I'm still doing this in this exact same spot, I'm not a success, right?
You're not going to be the same guy.
Evolve, right? Yeah, you have to evolve, and I don't know how you evolve with a coaching mentality that you haven't been in or around.
Well, and he hasn't taken the time to really learn that. Like, just like you said, like, yeah, Joe Madden got the book, How to Coach Millennials or whatever.
Yeah.
At least he did that. At least he made an effort. This guy's just like, it's my way or the highway. I'm coming in. Here's what it is. No bullshit. If you don't like it, go. And I just don't like the way he's doing things. And he doesn't know the rules completely. He has a guy in his ear who should be telling him these things and like what's going on at all times. I feel like he's lost sometimes. Like, I just don't feel like he knows what's even going on. Like, kind of like Tom Brady when he played the Bears and he thought it was 4th down for the second time.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, like he just had one of those moments. But Tony has those moments all the time. Like, all the time.
And the only thing I think that's saving him right now is the fact that this team is where it's at. Mm-hmm. Imagine if they were in 3rd place in this division, right?
He'd be getting
toast.
He'd be getting tarred and feathered right now.
Exactly. Nobody would want him around. He probably would have left. And
I don't think they want him around anyway. Yeah.
I mean, I highly doubt that this White Sox team wants him as their coach.
There are people
probably
internally.
Respect him.
Yeah, like there are people internally saying that I mean, there's people on both sides.
Right.
But I've heard internally that there's people in this organization that don't even want him there.
Right.
And
Rick Hahn wasn't a fan when he first.
Rick Hahn is the guy that you should have everything set around. Like, he built this. This is his baby.
And then you go and pick
so you go behind his back and do that. That's
some Ryan Page shady shit right there.
That's some bad shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's like drafting a quarterback and not telling your fucking coach you're drafting.
Yep, that's
the same thing. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But I digress with that.
Yeah, I mean it's frustrating because like I said, I'm not a White Sox fan, but if it was the Cubs and it was the other way around, I'd be completely annoyed with this situation.
I'd be going insane.
The only silver lining is the fact that they're doing as well as they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And they will continue in spite of him, hopefully, playing the way that they're playing.
Right. And like Chubbs in the chat said, coaching is different in every league.
It is.
I don't think Major League Baseball, especially position player wise, I don't think the manager has a lot to do with those guys. He talks to them. Hey, this is where you're going to be. This is the lineup. This is where everybody's, batting. Yeah. But the majority of a manager in baseball's job is to manage the bullpen,
lineups,
pitching, right? Manage
situational pitching, stuff
exactly.
Like that. Yeah.
But that's the other thing is how do you not set yourself up with coaches on your staff that know current baseball?
That's because Tony La Russa is living in 1992 and he thinks he can do it all himself. He can't. He thinks that this is the same way it was back then. And just like I said earlier, he's one of those guys that is just sitting there thinking that it's either his way or the fucking highway. Yeah. And that's the way he's going to go. But
you know what?
It's like we got our buddy Erik waiting.
That's right. Erik's sitting in the green room. Before we jump to Erik, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, our friends at the White Oak Farm venue in Michigan City, Indiana. We got a little message from them. So here you go.
Honey, will you marry me?
Yes, yes, yes!
Let's get out of here.
Come to Indiana's premier venue. Come to the farm. Come see all the wildlife. Come to White Oak Farm Venue in Michigan City, Indiana.
Come to our 80-acre sanctuary right off I-94 in Michigan City, Indiana.
Come see all we have to offer from 2 brand new Amish-built barns with climate control.
Come see the ponds with beautiful waterfall, meadows and wildflowers, and so much more.
Come see our secluded venue. After you enter our private road, you'll be in your own world away from it all, with outdoor ceremony spaces, wood-fired pizza ovens, and lots of fresh air.
Come enjoy Northwest Indiana's premier wedding venue, where you gather with your family and friends. Stretch your legs and enjoy the most memorable day of your life.
Visit White Oak Farm Venue at whiteoakfarmvenue.com or on Facebook/Instagram.
All right. That was a word from our friends over at the White Oak Farm Venue.
Beautiful looking place.
It is. It's really nice. If I ever get married,
nice place.
I might actually take. I don't know if I want to. I'm not sure if I want to drive from Wisconsin down to Indiana just to get married.
I hope your girl's not watching this right now. She's in the
Even
back.
Even if she was, the conversation's been had. But anyways, let's welcome in our guy from Sports Mockery, Erik Lambert. How are we doing tonight, Erik?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
Good. Thank you for jumping on with us. I know, with this whole new sport court thing, dates have kind of gotten confused. We've had some stuff, but I appreciate you shuffling stuff around to jump on with us. A lot of big Bears stuff has happened over the last couple weeks, rookie minicamp and all that stuff. We had Matt Nagy interview, talk about Justin Fields. I'd like to get your thoughts on where you see Justin Fields coming into this team as a starting quarterback. Week 1, week 6. We got a couple sound bites from Nagy about what he thinks, but I'm curious to see if you've heard anything or what your thoughts are.
The way I have seen this whole thing play out is Nagy has had a plan about this for a while now, probably even before they drafted Fields. The fact that they got Fields was something he really wanted. That's without question. He was their guy. So to get him was really exciting. But at the same time, Nagy has seen this scenario play out before, and not just with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's been with Andy Reid for a long time, and Reid did it with Donovan McNabb. He did it to a lesser extent with Michael Vick. So he knows that sitting a quarterback for a period of time gives that quarterback a chance to prepare better without taking all the hits and all that other stuff before getting on the field. And then when they're most comfortable or comfortable enough, then you can throw them out there. They'll still make some mistakes, but probably make fewer than they would if you just threw them out there right away. He's trying to make Justin Fields as comfortable as possible before he has to put him out there and start the process of him becoming the franchise guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that, Erik. 110%. Outside of, the big rookies that we have, obviously we've got Tevin Jenkins, we've got Justin Fields. What rookie makes you most excited out of this draft after minicamp? And are there any diamonds in the rough in this camp that can really help the Bears make some noise?
I myself am a personal fan of Daz Newsome, their 6th-round pick out of North Carolina. I think he's highly underrated. He was overshadowed by his more celebrated teammate, De'Ami Brown, also a really good player. But when you have two guys who are good, one's going to have to be A and the other's going to have to be B. We know this, and Daz was the B. But if you watched him at North Carolina, he's a big playmaker. I mean, every time they needed a big catch, he was usually the guy who made it. And he has some great hands, good route running skill. He's quick, faster than you'd think, particularly on the field. He doesn't time very well, but when you watch him on the field, he's much faster than you'd think.
Got game day speed, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And I honestly think that he's a guy who performs better in games than you'll ever see in practice. So I'm really anxious to see him on the field in the preseason, because I think he's going to show some things that make the coaches think we might need to get this guy on the field sooner than later.
I agree 100%. So actually, Fields, that was the first call Fields made after he was drafted. He called him first, and the first thing he said was, let's get to work. I'm really hoping that you're right about that dynamic with those two. I really hope it goes well.
Same here.
And speaking of speed, it's no secret that Matt Nagy went out and he found guys this offseason that were going to open up the field, right? Now, we talked when Mitch was the quarterback, he who should not be named, but that there was struggle for Matt Nagy to open up the playbook and run the offense that he wanted to run. What do you see this Matt Nagy offense looking like with a guy like Justin Fields under center?
I think they're going to try and incorporate a lot of what they did at Ohio State. A lot of shotgun mixed with under center, of course, but also running out of the shotgun and really trying to incorporate the play action pass, which is something that Fields has proven he can be quite deadly at, not just with the run pass option, but play action in general, because his arm, his deep ball in particular, is what you'd call special. I mean, I watched a ton of film on him, and his deep ball is easily the most impressive in this class, and that includes Trevor Lawrence. And that's something that Nagy has been searching for over 3 years now. He's trying to get the deep ball incorporated into his offense, but he hasn't had a quarterback that can do it consistently. Mitch couldn't do it. Nick Foles couldn't do it. So now he thinks he finally has that guy in Justin Fields, and by watching the film, you'd agree. So It's a question of getting him the necessary protection and getting him targets that can get open down the field. And that's been his focus this offseason. Marcus Goodwin, Damier Byrd, they have Mooney, and then you throw Newsome, who's an underrated deep target in his own right. They've got options to finally get some big plays going in this offense.
I agree. Actually, I heard Nagy say, I can't remember which station I heard it on, but he said he wanted them to be the fastest practicing offense in the NFL. I love hearing that. I love the speed. I love the options. But let's talk about the other side of the ball. So we've got Sean Desai now. And, hopefully going forward, they just let him have free reign. He's been there a long time. He knows what's up. He was under Vic Fangio. What do you think we are going to run this year as a basic defensive scheme? And, are there going to be more blitz packages? Are we going to press up on the ball more? What do you think the entire defense is as a whole this year?
I think we're going to see a lot of what we saw with Vic Fangio in that terms of style of defense. Very tough, very rugged style, highly disciplined, always be on your marks, all that sort of stuff. I think they're going to try and let guys with the instinctive side of their game come out a little more, which wasn't always the case with Chuck Pagano, which is going to be big for Eddie Jackson because that's the way he plays, instinctive, trusting where he needs to go to get the football. And when you let your guys play like that, they tend to play better. They tend to play more free. So I think that's what Desai is going to be looking for. But at the same time, trying to maintain a structure of discipline to not always be out of position. Be in position, but if you feel you can go get the ball, fine, go get the ball. But if you don't, it's going to be on you to correct that mistake.
Yeah,
so with the history that Desai has with Vic Fangio, guys like Khalil Mack, they've seemed to, I wouldn't say struggle, but just not flash as much as we kind of hoped, right? And then a guy like Robert Quinn came in last year. You had the first play that he was in, and that was basically the end of it. Do you see Desai being somebody who can come in and get these guys, especially Mack and Quinn, back up to that caliber that we're hoping for?
Good question.
I do. And the reason I say this is because Desai is extremely well prepared. He's very organized. He's very disciplined in his approach, and he has a plan. One of the things I've heard about him consistently is he evaluates carefully all of his players, all of his assistant coaches as well. And he wants to know what their strengths are, and he wants to know their weaknesses. And like any good coach, he wants to maximize the strengths and hide the weaknesses as much as possible. So he's going to determine, okay, what does Khalil Mack do best? What does Robert Quinn do best? And so on and so forth. And then it's my job to put them in the best position to use those strengths. And I think that's going to be his primary focus this year.
I agree with that because I think I read somewhere, and I'm not sure where, but I think they said that Mack dropped back like 30% of the overall plays. That's insane. Mm-hmm. You have your best bull out there dropping back. That doesn't make any sense to me at all either, Eric. So I completely agree with that. Just one right off the top of my head. What do you think, like this wide receiver core, just like you kind of brought up Newsome earlier, it's stacked. So what's going to happen with guys like Anthony Miller? Like, are we going to see some trades coming up after June 1st when all the cap goes down a little bit for these, in-house trades or whatever? What do you think that wide receiving core is going to look like?
I think that this is probably the deepest wide receiving core they've had in terms of experience and proven productivity that they've had in Nagy's tenure. I mean, they've always had Robinson. He's a stud. We know this. The problem has been finding that supporting cast, the number 2 guy and the number 3 guy who can support him consistently. And I think they finally have the number 2 with Mooney. I think he's going to be a really good player for them moving forward, considering his talent and his work ethic specifically. So the question is, can they finally find that number 3 guy and that number 4 guy to sort of fill out the starting lineup for them, which has always been a problem the past couple of years. And I think they finally have guys like Byrd, guys like Goodwin, and even Miller. I mean, I understand a lot of people are done with Miller after the frustrating way his last season ended, and justifiably so. He should be playing better considering his talent level. But at the same time, some guys, grow slower than others. So I think the Bears are content to at least give him another chance in training camp. And if by some chance another team comes calling with a trade, they'll be open to it. And, I've seen them, make trades later in a year before. I believe who was it? They traded somebody Adam Shaheen. They traded him in July.
Shaheen. They got from the Chargers a couple years ago. The name's dropping out of my head. Dontrell Inman. Yeah, it's another one. That's a desperation move, but still.
They're going to keep the trade idea open, but at the same time, it's not like he's hard against the cap in terms of money. He's still relatively cheap, so it's like let's keep him around. If he performs well in camp, we'll give him another shot, and who knows? He might perform well, and if he doesn't, he's gone next year. No harm, no foul. So
exactly. It is a contract year too, which could be beneficial for them going forward.
Right. Players usually seem to shine out when their contracts are on the line. You know what I mean? And who knows? Give him a couple weeks on the team. If he flashes out and you still want to move on from him, it's better to have a little bit of footage on him doing well to kind of dangle in front of other teams. Now back to the other side of the ball. The Bears got rid of Kyle Fuller, which many believe was just strictly cap casualty, which I agree. But they bring in Desmond Trufant. That seems to me the area that is most questionable going forward. What are your thoughts on the weakness of this defense going into next season?
Cornerback is a concern. I think Jalen Johnson's going to be a good player provided he stays healthy, and I'm not too worried about him. It's a question of the other spot that Fuller was occupying, and also the nickel corner spot that was vacated by Buster Screen. They don't have anybody there that's proven either. So filling those two spots are going to be of vital importance. They still have their two starting safeties from last year, so parts of their secondary seem secure. It's the other parts that give you concern, justifiably so. And Trufant has proven that he can be a serviceable enough player when he's on the field. His problem has been staying on the field the past couple of years. So you just don't know, which is why the Bears have been sort of focusing on filling out the depth behind them to try and create some competition to see if they can find some guys that are like, okay, if Trufant goes down, we have this guy who can probably step in and still be pretty decent for us. And who knows, they might find somebody even more capable than just being a spot starter. So that's the point of creating the competition that they have.
Right.
That's what Sean Desai's all about, and I love that. I really hope you're right about that. So going forward a little bit, and let's get off the field a little bit. What field are the Bears going to be on in the next 5 years? Because I keep hearing about Arlington Heights. I keep hearing about this massive casino that they're going to build there and have, a retractable roof, all that good stuff. Do you think the Bears jump on that, or do you think that this is just smoking mirrors for them so they can rebuild at Soldier Field again?
In times like this, I'm always reminded of a very simple quote when it comes to not just sports, but business in general. Follow the money.
Yes.
If somebody, if they offer the Bears enough money to move out to Arlington Heights, they will. At the same time, if Chicago pays them more money to stay in the city proper, they'll take that too. So it's always a question of who's going to pay us the most to move wherever or stay wherever. And that's the way I feel. Now, me personally, I live in Wakanda, which isn't too far from Arlington Heights. So I'm
that's good for you.
In that regard. So, if they were to be closer to me, I'd be all for that. But at the same time, I completely understand why people want to keep them in Chicago because they are the Chicago Bears. So it's always a question of, in my point of view, finances. Whoever pays them the most money, that's where they're going to go.
I mean, the idea to me to be able to go into a stadium, go to a sports book, place a bet, go to dinner, and then go out and watch the game right afterwards, all without having to leave the same building is just such a luxury that I think Bears fans would relish the idea to be able to do.
I believe their rent is over $6 million a year that they would also save on top of that. And the other thing in saying that would be for a marketing standpoint, you get to rename a field and you're going to get $20 million a year just for that alone. So that's a complete swing on what, instead of paying for their place, they're going to generate money and they're going to have a sponsor who's paying all their bills up front. It's a win-win.
They might host Super Bowls in the future, all that stuff.
You have sponsors on the
that revenue that can be generated by a Super Bowl.
Follow the money.
Absolutely. That's a no-brainer to me. I agree.
But that was an excellent question, Alan. I got one more for you, Eric. I appreciate you coming on again. What, in your opinion, would constitute as a successful 2021-2022 campaign for the Chicago Bears team? If Justin Fields never sees the field. Is that a good thing, bad thing? I'd love your thoughts on that.
Well, if Justin Fields never sees the field, to me, that means they're winning. So,
Right.
I don't have a problem with that. But
True.
to me, there are two ways the season can be viewed as a success. Either the Bears play well, have a winning season, and probably make the playoffs, or Justin Fields comes in, performs well as a rookie, and gives you hope for the next couple of seasons when he's the unquestioned starter. So if neither of those things ends up happening, then it's probably not going to be viewed as a success in the minds of most fans.
Right. Now, a lot of talk was, bringing up the success thing. A lot of talk was about Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy's contracts. Real hush-hush, especially towards Ryan Pace. Do you see a scenario? I'm assuming that they got 2 years probably to make this work, and if it doesn't, you blow it up, right? I would think something to that. The only way I see those two getting fired is if the season is a complete disaster, as in Fields doesn't play well or gets hurt, and the Bears just totally bottom out. We're talking 4-13, 3-14, something like that. And if it's really, really bad, they might just clean house and bring in somebody new to develop Fields. But outside of that, if we're talking another middling season or even a winning season, then I expect they're going to be around next year to continue to see this through. Sure. What are your predictions on their finishing record?
That was my question.
I guess I'm an optimist. I have them going 10-7. I'm not as intimidated by certain parts of their schedule as others might be, particularly Pittsburgh. I understand Pittsburgh had a good record last year, and at times they were really good, but I also remember that they were 1-6 down the stretch. So they weren't playing like the same team they were to start the year. So it's a tough schedule. Don't get me wrong. I completely understand that, and it can go either way. But I think the Bears are capable enough, provided they stay healthy, to go around 10-7 and get in as a wild card.
Awesome. Alan, you got any more for Erik?
No. Answered my questions
just
like I thought he would.
I wanted to go back and forth, and I kind of jumped to 2 questions in a row there. So,
100%.
But Erik, I appreciate you coming on with us, man. Always, it's great having you on. The time we get with you is appreciated. So definitely, we'll look forward to having you on again soon.
Where can we find you again, Erik?
You can find me at Erik Lambert 1 on Twitter. I'm on there all the time.
I found you on Facebook, I think, too, the other day, actually.
You can find me on there as well.
You're not on there very much.
Decided to friend me there if they wish, but usually I'm on Twitter. So whichever your preference is.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks again, Erik, man. Have a good night.
See you later, guys.
Later, Erik.
All right. Well, that's Erik Lambert, man. I love talking with that guy. He's always so gracious with his time.
He is. Absolutely.
A lot of points there that we all kind of agreed on, right?
Yeah.
Yep. A successful season. I agree that with Justin Fields is the biggest thing that's going to dictate whether it's a season of success or not. If he's able to develop and play well, even if they have a losing record, I think I would take that as a Bears fan, wouldn't you?
Oh, I definitely would. For me, and it's something I said last week. It's one of these things where I want an honest assessment of where he's at all times. Do not put him out there out of desperation. I feel like that's what we did with Mitch. Honestly, some people say that that's what ruined him. I think Mitch was a lost cause either way.
Yeah, I don't think that's what –
You don't want to get me going on that guy, because if we have any Mitch truthers in here, they're going to hate me. But I'm just saying that I want an honest assessment of this guy going forward, knowing where he's at, knowing if he's ready for the field, and if he is, put him out there. That's all I need. I just don't want to see this out of desperation, because I know Matt Nagy. Nagy's going to Nagy, and he has his new toy, and he's going to want to play with it. And if that means throwing this kid out there under fire with this schedule that we have, and he's not ready, he's going to get murdered. This is the way I feel about it.
I agree. We'll talk a little bit more Justin Fields. Erik Lambert interview was brought to you guys by our friends over at the Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group, John Darren. It's if you're looking for a home, that's the place to be. We got a quick message from him.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Darren, licensed real estate broker with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group in Homer Glen. Are you looking to buy or sell? Have you been disappointed in the past? The Jonathan Darren team with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group focuses on providing you with a concierge level of service during the process of buying or selling. We are a service-oriented team with a fresh and professional approach to selling real estate. Our goal is to combine knowledge, skills, and passion to exceed our clients' expectations, and most of all, we truly care. We are a knowledgeable real estate team focused on offering expertise and innovative solutions for our clients. The Jonathan Darren team has 5 full-service real estate brokers and a dedicated full-time marketer servicing all of Chicagoland. We will customize a detailed plan around your timeline for a sale, purchase, investment, estate, or other needs. Real estate transactions can be stressful, but don't need to be. Let us handle it for you. Visit our website, homesbyjdt.com, or call 708-308-1938 today. Expect better in real estate. Choose the Jonathan Darren team.
All right. Now,
back at it.
It's just you and me for the next hour, or not hour, just kidding. For the next half hour, 40 minutes.
This isn't Turtles Takes,
no,
all right?
No. We're gonna be done by 8:30. But yeah, we touched on Darnell Mooney, right? There was some some fun topics on Twitter today involving Darnell Mooney. Jalen Ramsey, cornerback, Los Angeles Rams. He had some words to basically tell Chicago fans to not believe the hype in Darnell Mooney, that he was going to show us what's up when they face the Bears. Personally, I thought Darnell Mooney held his own against him last year, made him look kind of silly.
You go look at the tape, that's what it tells you. The only thing that's bad about the tape is that he was overthrown a lot.
Well, he who shall not be named.
He who I do not speak about.
That's right.
And that's a law here.
Yeah, I brought his name up once and I regretted it the moment it came out.
No, it's so I actually saw someone went on Wikipedia and actually said that he was Darnell Mooney's son, and I about lost it. And I think that's the straw that broke the camel's back. I think he got tired. Yeah, exactly, right there. So he, the proof will be in the pudding.
That's
Go on the field and show it. But you're talking about one of the best corners in the league. Maybe he just had a bad day. Maybe Darnell Mooney is as good as we think he is. I hope it's obviously the second one. But in saying that, you just lit a fire under this kid's ass, and you lit a fire under that whole defense, which is a very good defense. So Andy Dalton better be ready and on point game 1.
Here's my thought, man. Like, you're the best corner, right? You're going to talk smack. That's what he does. He's done it his whole career, right? But then don't go and stop people from commenting on your Twitter.
That's what pissed me off.
Like, dude.
Because, Mike was, ready to, have a revolution. About
I know. He wanted 1252.
He wanted all of us to go up there. And I go there, and I can't even comment on his stuff. And I'm like, well, why not? Is it because I'm not following him? I went and followed him. Still can't. You're going to take your ball and go home after remarks like that?
Right.
That is a coward-ass move. It's a coward-ass move. You know what?
You can't go out there, throw stones, and then get pissed off when people come back at you.
No, it doesn't work like that in 2021. Twitter is an evil place. And if you want that, you better bring that. And then I'm pretty sure he deleted that whole comment too, by the way. And so I didn't even get to see it because he deleted it after the fact, I believe. I don't think it's on his Twitter anymore. But if it is, I just must have missed it. But the guy, just come out and prove it. That's all it takes. That's all it takes, kid.
Mooney had a great first season, right? Stood out. That's what you look for in a guy drafted where he was drafted.
Yeah.
Somebody that's going to come out and stand out, and that's what he did. Hopefully, being in this system for a second year, a quarterback who we all agree is better than the one that they had previously, both that they had last season.
All of them combined, more like it.
Right. And I hope big things for this offense. Call me a meathead all you want. I think I've posted on the Sport Court Facebook and Twitter. I think that this kid is the real deal. I think Justin Fields is going to be somebody who's going to take this franchise into a completely new direction. I'd love to get the feedback from, everybody else in Chicago and or Bears fans in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we just got it from Chubbs. He thinks that, Nagy should be fired if he doesn't get this team rolling this season. But I don't really know if he can this year because, and I know strength of schedule is something that it's just said around the league that, it doesn't mean shit when it comes down to it. But if you really look at that schedule, there's a lot of ascending teams on that schedule, not teams going down. I would say the Steelers are probably not going to be as good as their record said they were.
Yeah.
But Arizona's going to get better. You're going to have Baltimore still going to be Baltimore. They're still, even I had people crucifying this guy on my Bears page because he went out and said that he thought the Bengals were going to beat the Bears. And I sat and I'm like, it's not that out of the realm to think that Joe Burrow, if he's healthy, could come out and play well against them.
Right.
It's not. He's got a better offense. Yeah, that offensive line definitely needs work. But I wouldn't just give that a W right away. I mean, we don't know how Andy Dalton's even going to look this year. So
football is so funny, right? Because it's not like other sports where in basketball, usually the best team wins all the
best
time.
Player with the best
right.
team.
The best player will win most of the time. Football, man, you could have the best quarterback, but if the ball goes right through a receiver's hands to a defense, you could have a pick six. There's points the other way. So, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. The Bears could win 3 games this year.
Yeah.
They could also win 12 games this year.
I have them picked at 6.
I have them at 9 wins. 9 wins. Right. I'd be happy with 9. I think to get to that 9 wins, Justin Fields is going to see the field. He will be playing.
See, that's me predicated on Justin Fields not playing.
Right.
That's just without Justin Fields. If that means he comes in, week 6, week 8, like you and I kind of talked about before the show, maybe that changes. Maybe, a lot of defenses won't be able to scheme to what he does, and he'll be able to tear it up, That's my hope, is that he's ready to come out and he takes it by storm. But I don't know if that's going to be the case.
It'll be interesting. There's a part of me, like when I heard the Matt Nagy interview, there's a part of me that I get this vibe from him where he really wants to get Fields out there to play, right? Yeah. New toy, pedal to the metal, let's just do it. But I think he's also worried about, what if we rush him and his development is hindered? If the guy is the guy, I have a hard time believing that that's going to hinder his development. You know what I mean? And maybe I'm wrong. I've never played football. I've watched a lot of it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm completely wrong. But I feel like if you're the guy, you're going to stand out and you're going to succeed no matter what.
Yeah. So that means he's mentally tough.
Right.
And this kid, just from what I hear about him at training or at rookie minicamp, he's walking like he's the guy. He's talking like he's the guy. He's mentally strong, and he's ready to take on those kinds of things. That's the difference between him and he who shall not be named, is that guy seems like from day one already that he's ready to take that mantle. He's ready to take control of this team already. The big quote for me, massive quote he said during his press conference, and I'm not going to forget it. Whenever they were asking him about being the starter, it's everyone on our team should be striving for a starting job. If you don't, you shouldn't be here. That's a culture move right there. Saying that means this kid going forward is going to think that way and hold people accountable for their fuck-ups, for their mistakes. And if they don't learn from it, he's going to call them out day one. I hope that's who he is. I mean, way down the road, that could hurt us also because he's going to want massive contracts. He's going to turn into that guy like a Russell Wilson.
Right.
But that means every year we have a shot. Every year.
And what's the one position in football that you make sure you pay when you have one?
A quarterback.
Right. My favorite quote from Justin Fields is he was asked about pressure playing in Chicago. And he said that I don't think there's pressure on me because I expect myself to be a franchise quarterback.
Yes.
That mentality
Massive.
Is something that this city has never really had. We had Jay. Jay was good, but he wasn't great. He made a lot of bonehead mistakes, could never really stay healthy at the right times. I love Cutler. He was my favorite quarterback to watch for this team. So I'll never have anything bad to say about him. I know a bunch of Bears fans, especially in Wisconsin, they don't like Cutler. I don't know how you don't, but that's a completely different topic for
you know why they don't like Cutler is because he's meh.
Yeah.
He could have been great. He could have been great. And I was a bandwagon Cutler fan. I was. When we got him, I went ape shit. I was crazy about the guy. Yeah. But over time, he just did this meh. Like, he just didn't really he wasn't in it. He was in it. The only time I saw this kid smile, the only fucking time, was when he was at his fucking new contract press conference. That's it. I never saw him smile any other time but the day he got his new contract. And that's a sad fucking statement to me. You know, and I like to think this is, if you took Jay Cutler's physical ability and you took Mitch Trubisky's heart and you put them together, you have an ultimate quarterback.
Yeah.
And I like to think that ultimate quarterback is now Justin fucking Fields. I like to think that. I'm hoping for that. And that's what all of us as Bears fans are hoping, is that this kid gives us that we've always been looking for, that we finally get a 4,000 yard passer. Yep. Yeah. That we have a stud quarterback who can throw the team on his back and bring us somewhere, and not just sitting here and just predicating on all the defensive stuff all the time and throwing up, 7, 8, 10 points a game or whatever it is. I think we're always bottom half in points, like 17 points a game or something like that.
It's so sad.
Like, I want to be in the 30s. Yeah. I still want to have an average defense that has a good pass rush. That's how you win in the NFL. You have a good pass rush. Look at Tampa Bay. Look what they did to Kansas City. They weren't world beaters on offense, but they have some fucking dogs up front. They have some hound dogs up front that went after Mahomes all game long, made that kid uncomfortable. Kid still played all right for having that in his face, but at the end of the day, like, that's what won them a Super Bowl, is having those dogs on defense.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would be cool with 27 points a game. I'm not greedy.
Ecstatic.
Yeah. I just want to have 20 points a game.
The Bears, like, these past few years, all I've been begging for is to get 24 points a game. The Bears defense will give you the rest, 24 fucking points a game, and you will win more than you will lose.
Yep.
That is a stat. You can look it up. 24 points a game would have won them a lot more games. Yep. But they just, God damn it, they just couldn't get out of their own way. And then Nagy with play calling, which we haven't even touched on,
Before we jump into that, this last half hour of the show is going to be brought to you guys. Yeah, the rant section of the show.
The rant section
is going to be brought to you by our guys over at Nick and Ivy Brewery.
Hello, this is Paul from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. We are located at 1026 South State Street in historic downtown Lockport, Illinois. We are very excited to be partnering up with the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show, as well as the 1252 brand, because we are one of the few Chicagoland breweries that embrace sports and sports culture. Come in for a fresh brewed beer made right here in Lockport while catching the game of your favorite team. Stay for the live music that we have booked every weekend, or just come for a cozy atmosphere to enjoy a good conversation with a friend, loved one, or complete stranger. Nick and Ivy makes you feel right at home no matter what the occasion is. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook by searching for Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. Visit our website for our up-to-date tap list, or to go shopping on our online store at nickivybrewing.com. That's NIKIVY brewing.com. Come in today for fresh brewed beer born and raised in Lockport, Illinois.
All right. Huge shout out to our guys over at Nick and Ivy, beautiful downtown Lockport, Illinois. I know Alan's a huge fan of the
it wouldn't be a show without me talking about the cookie dough stout.
That's right, the cookie dough stout. It sounds fantastic.
I actually talked to Paul on a little Facebook comment the other day about how he needed to make that a regular, because that was actually a special he was doing. And he could name it the Bratcher or whatever he wanted, I wouldn't be mad, I'm just throwing it out there, Paul,
I wouldn't be mad.
We got the Fat Mike drink coming out. Maybe
Yep.
we could get another one going. Wink,
Bratch-tastic, we'll call it.
Whatever it is. We'll figure it out.
They're more clever at naming beers.
They're
than
way
I am,
better than
so.
you and me. Yeah, way better about it. But
now I had to drive 3 hours home from Nick and Ivy last time we were there, so I didn't get to really indulge in a lot of the alcoholic beverages. But my hope is next time I'm down in that area, I'll have the ability to crash at a hotel or something and enjoy some good Nick and Ivy brew.
That was my first brewery ever, and I did not have a bad drink. I had about 6 different beers that day, and not one of them was bad. My girlfriend, even, who doesn't drink beer, drank every one that I tried, and she liked them, and that's saying something because she doesn't really drink. And the fact that he got her in it, I'm like, wow, this is something.
You hear that train in the background? All aboard.
Damn
all
right.
aboard the train.
What's that say? The Bratcha Dazzle?
Yeah, I like it. Tarbill coming up with names. But anyways, back to what we were talking about with the whole
back
Justin
to me getting
Fields
angry.
Yeah. I feel like every show we do on this network somehow always reverts back to the Bears.
Because it has to. Because Chicago is Bears country.
The Bears are my first love in Chicago. It's my favorite team down there. My kids, I took my kid to a Cubs game, but my real dream is to take both my kids and my dad to Soldier before they decide to move to Arlington Heights.
Hurry.
But then I'll take them to Arlington Heights afterwards, which I'm cool with. But
better hurry because those pillars are coming down. Those pillars are gone.
I don't know if they'll ever tear it down. I feel like they'd keep it and just use it for
they can move the pillars to fucking Arlington Heights.
That's probably what they would do. You want to bet they'd probably put it in the end zone or something.
Maybe they take them and since they have like a horse track too or something, or maybe they have like a section off on the side where they have the columns where like people can go visit them or have like a tourist thing like that. I don't know. I'm done with that shit though. I'm seriously over it. I've been watching this team for far too long. I'm tired of the fucking history. Tired of, as Mike would say, the Bears. I'm tired of it. I just want to get with the times. I want to have a 4,000-yard fucking passer. Let's get on that train.
Yeah.
Let's stop worrying about the middle linebacker position always having some stud on it, and let's start scoring some fucking points, guys. Because that's what matters in 2021 is points, right,
that's
Angelo?
100%.
Like
100%, man. I'm like I told you, I would settle for 26 points a game. The Bears the last couple seasons have been a tough watch.
It is.
It's like a
whenever we play
job trying to enjoy a game.
Yeah, like whenever we play an actual team that has an average defense, it's like watching like someone getting murdered. It's brutal to fucking watch this team on offense over and over. It's the same stuff again. It's the same problems. But like I said, we have hope now. But when will hope come to fruition, and when will Justin Fields see the field? That's the big question. No pun intended.
They should move to Arlington Heights. Name the stadium Justin Fields Stadium.
Now you're getting crazy.
And
now you're getting nuts.
Then we'll win 17 Super Bowls, and
you're meathead.
Justin Fields will go down in history as the all-time greatest quarterback of all time. I'm
that's
cool
enough
with
of the meathead shit.
And I mean, if that's what happens, cool. I'm not asking too much.
You're asking way too much. And the thing is that you need to be, and I know that you're just fucking around.
Yeah.
I know that you want to be realistic here. And that's what we try to do here is be realistic about things going forward. So saying that, again, what happens with Anthony Miller? What happens with all these guys? Like, what does this team look like the year after? Because what I think is that after this year, next year is when Justin Fields is ready 100% to take the fucking league over.
Yeah.
That's my thought process, but I think differently than others. I know a lot of people want him day one, but I don't know if that's the answer. The answer is honest assessment, knowing what we have, knowing if he's ready or not, And then after that, God, I have trains going like crazy today. Hold on.
That's the Schuster-Grobstein Express, man.
Let me get this closed here.
Like Tarville said.
I never had this many trains go by. It's like all of a sudden, like I usually have one train a day. I've had like fucking 7 in an hour. It's insane. It's nuts. But anyway, back to what we're talking about here. It's like, going forward, we have the second oldest defense in the NFL right now, if I'm not mistaken. That defense is only getting older. It's only getting worse.
Yep.
So what do you think about that defense and where they need to go going forward? So obviously Roquan Smith, he's not going anywhere.
No.
You have to keep him. Even though I just went on a rant about not having a fucking middle linebacker, you still need one.
Right.
And he's a great one. But what else on the defensive side of the ball? Like, what direction do you think they go? Do they switch back to a 4-3? Do they stay with 3-4 and just try to get more pass rushers? Because I
like the 3-4 defense.
Yeah.
I like the pressure you get with a 3-4.
Yeah.
Your base packages are a little bit better. That's just me, though. Now, I think that you have to start looking at Khalil Mack, right? And this year, I think the Bears realize they have to do something this year or next year. Yeah. And if they don't, then you're going to find yourself in a situation where, kind of like Cutler, when he was good, the defense was so bad. Yeah. Remember when, was it the back-to-back 50 burgers where the Packers put up 50 and the Patriots put up 50?
Yep.
And the Bears hung around, but
that was the worst time ever being a Bears fan. And
it was pretty terrible.
I started loving the Bears in the 90s, and I would have took that shit over that. Like, that's how bad that defense was garbage.
It was so hard to watch.
Garbage.
And we had guys on there that we all loved so much, and we just could not bring
ourselves
to be like, God damn it, Brian Urlacher.
Yeah.
So old.
So just sitting here watching them and being raised on defense, watching good defense, and you see bad defense, you're like wanting to throw up.
Yeah.
Like, it was ridiculous. Like, I couldn't sit. I fucking turned that Packer game off. At halftime, it was like 48-0 or some shit, or like something crazy like that. And I didn't even watch the end of the game. And I never not watch a game. I always watch the fucking game snap.
I have a bad tendency of, like, no matter how bad the game is, I make myself watch the entire game.
You force feed yourself to go through it because you're like, I'm a fan and I only get 16
I have to deal with this bullshit.
Like, you don't get that many football games, so you just endure and you just feel the pain of every single one. And you're like sitting here like, is this the bullshit I have to watch? Yeah, Tarville, we know you're 7. We get that, But like, going back to it, man, it's like the Packer fans feel that way about quarterbacking. We feel that way about defense. So when we see a bad defense, we're like, holy shit, this is garbage ass shit.
Yeah.
When Packer fans see a bad quarterback, which they see with us every year, they feel that way.
Although they're about to start watching it on their own team here pretty soon too. So I'm
in a NFC North little shit talking group, and those guys, they don't want to admit it, but they're fucking nervous.
How could you not be? How could you not be? Like, I know there's I'll believe it when I see it. But let me tell you what, man, Aaron Rodgers hasn't come out one time to nip this shit. And to me, that's it. He don't care.
No,
he's done with you
guys. I'm very happy about that. But I don't want to get talking about him.
Yeah.
Because
I'll be too happy.
I have a fucking rule about we're on a Bears network. Let's keep it Bears, Angelo.
You do have that rule. I tried to make a point in Bears fans with a brain, and you got all salty at me for it.
And I
deleted my post.
No, I'm pretty sure I deleted your post, but either way,
I deleted it. So if you deleted it, we deleted it. It
was fucking gone. Because it's just that we've been hearing so much about him for so long, and we have our guy now. Let's start focusing on that instead of what he's doing. Yeah, if Aaron Rodgers plays there this year, it's going to be a shit show for us probably, because he's still going to whoop our ass. He's still going to come out and beat us because our defense can't figure him out. But Hopefully,
I don't know,
I'm wrong
man.
about
I
that.
thought the Vic Fangio defense handled him pretty well.
They beat him once.
Right, but I mean, whenever
Or
Vic
twice.
played against him,
Yeah.
they always held their own in the entire
game
game.
playing better, yeah.
Right. And I think that's what you can kind of hope for with Desai, is that he game plans a little bit better with this defense. He knows these guys. You know what I mean? And that should lead to better, control, better.
I feel like there's going to be more physicality.
That's what, better physicality, less mistakes.
That's the word you're looking for here.
Less mistakes, better.
You're going to see more pressing at the line.
Yeah,
because Jalen Johnson is a big fucker. He's going to press at the line. It's not going to be. I'm hoping it's not going to be this like 7-yard drop back. Throw the short game all day at him and just let him try to beat you that way. I really hope that's not the bend don't break defense.
Right. That's the
I like to call
the favorite quote of Bears fans.
Yeah, but I want pressure. I want to bring him. I want to confuse him. I want Aaron to feel like he doesn't know which way's up and down. That's what Vic Fangio would do to him.
Yep.
Which is what you were alluding to, is that he had a lot of crazy blitz packages. He had a lot of these things that would confuse him because he didn't know what read was coming, and he would misjudge his reads and then get murdered. Like he'd be having Khalil Mack as his daddy all day. But
I want Khalil Mack to be all the quarterbacks' daddies this year.
Like he fucking backsacked him once. Like that's how bad it was for Aaron Rodgers in a game. I think they sacked him 5 times that game that they beat him.
And
Eddie Jackson had a pick in the end zone, which he brought out, which he shouldn't have, because
that hurt.
That hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
I was screaming at the TV whenever that happened. I'm like, sit the fuck down.
That was 18, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was 18. And then he wasn't right the rest of the year.
Didn't play in the playoffs.
I
don't know if it hindered it that much because the offense was pretty terrible against the Eagles that year till the last drive, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, look at how good he is!"
And there's a reason for that. It's because they went to prevent defense.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go there, and this is the thing about Mitch, the name I should not be fucking still saying on this network, is that Mitch in the fourth fucking quarter always came out to play, right? That's because the defense dropped back in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the pressure was gone.
The pressure's gone. He doesn't have guys in his face as much anymore. They usually had a good, comfortable lead and just said, all right, you can dink and dunk us all day. Kind of like what the Bears defense was doing, bend don't break, with under Chuck Pagano, and I would rather see a Vic Fangio defense where you have all these crazy packages. You don't know where it's coming from, and you're not fucking dropping Khalil Mack back in coverage. That's dumbass garbage. Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack should go every fucking play at the quarterback no matter what happens. Period. End of story. No debate. Like, bring your dogs home. It's the way that's my slogan this year. Bring your dogs home.
Yep.
Bring all those fucking meatheads up front. Bring all your beef home.
Bring all the beef home.
Bring all the beef home, bro.
Bring that beef home.
I'm going to make a shirt that says, bring the beef home, and wear it every fucking Bears game. Yep. I mean, like, just that kind of stuff, though, is like what I mean. Andrew Tarbill says Bears will lead the division this year. Well, again, Andrew, is that predicated off of Aaron Rodgers being there, or is Aaron not going to be there? Angelo, I'll let you have the floor on that.
I'm a strong believer that Aaron Rodgers is not back with Green Bay next year. Whether he decides to take time off or they trade him, which they are pretty adamant they're not going to trade him.
Denver's ringing.
I know. If Rodgers isn't going to come back, how do you allow yourself to get nothing for him? Zero. Just because you want to make a point? Like, we're not going to trade you.
Yeah, it's a big game of chicken.
Nah, sorry. Guess what? Unfortunately, the NFL is a job, right? You do what you got to do. You move on from pieces you have to move on from.
Where's the beef? The beef should be on the quarterback, Darren.
That's right.
That's where the beef should be.
I have something for you, Alan, that I have special just for you.
Oh, no.
You like to say his name a bunch.
Oh, no. God damn you. Get that shit off my screen.
There's that lost look in his eye, like, I don't know where to
It's always
go.
the same look.
Yeah, he's
mentally weak. He's mentally weak.
Hold on. Before we talk about mentally weak, I don't know if that's true. I mean, he's won awards, right? Like, he was the MVP.
The biggest joke of all time award. Nickelodeon. You're going to lose a game and get a fucking award for losing a game?
Yeah.
That's the problem with 2021.
Yeah.
There's no fucking more, like, stop with the participation awards. Stop with the nice guy award.
Yeah.
Go out there and win a fucking football game. And that's what I love about Justin Fields is that he's mentally hard from day one. He doesn't give a shit about that. He doesn't care if they're sitting, in the back, everyone's working out at the facility, and then on the fucking screens, just shit talking him. He's going to laugh and keep training. He's not going to make everyone turn it off like Mitch famously did.
I turned off all the cameras or all the TVs at Hallis Hall. Oh,
I heard this kid.
Baby.
I think it was 2 years ago, if I remember right. They did an interview with Mitch asking him what it was to be a leader, and I think one of his answers was about cleaning up the locker room and making sure that
ESPN 1000 blew that up.
I mean, what the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? Like,
got to clean up the room.
Like, really? Like, I don't want to knock millennials because I'm a millennial. I'm a grandfather millennial.
I was going to say, you're like on the fringe of
I'm on the end of millennialness, right? But, man, like, you cannot be that mentally soft in the NFL today and expect to live as a quarterback. You just can't.
No.
And the fact that, like, people defended this kid to the end of time. Like, I had so many arguments I had to go through about this kid that I made it a rule after April, no more fucking talk. Yep. Because everybody would just fight about him constantly about, well, he's a really nice guy and he shows up every day early and late. You know what? You can show up and he could live there. He'd have a fucking cot there for all I care. But the kid was not good enough on the field.
No.
I could get hired there and sit all fucking day in a room watching film, trying to learn shit. I could come out and.
But he was the first in and the first to leave, or the last to leave, Alan.
Great, awesome,
and that really produced well on the field.
But it doesn't translate. Yes, it doesn't because mentally he's not smart enough to grasp.
And
offenses.
That's not.
I'm not trying to be mean about him.
He's a good kid.
Like I flat out said that if you took Jay Cutler and him and you merged them together, it'd be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Because Jay Cutler's mentality sucked about everything. Yeah. Physically, amazing. He knew what to do, though. If you took Mitch's heart and put it in him, you'd have a great quarterback. I love him for that. But what I don't fucking love is, feel sorry for me because, I'm here every day doing this, and I'm the first one here and the last one to leave. But guess what? I can't fucking hack it on the field unless it's the fourth quarter and they're playing fucking prevent. Like that's my whole problem with Mitch is that he didn't show it to me enough. He couldn't make progressions at all. And then as soon as he starts hitting these dump passes in the fourth quarter, oh my God, look at Mitch now. Yeah. He did the same thing in college. I think it was the Sun Bowl. Same fucking scenario, same result. Started out shitty for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden he looked like a world beater. Yeah. That's because of this. That's why it happens. And I'm going to scream it till the fucking cows come home. Dahmer and Hitler were nice guys too. Yeah, you're right, Darren. They acted like nice guys, but at the end of the fucking day, it's like, he's not ready. He's not there. Let's take him out already and move forward with it. Like, ugh.
Do you remember how pissed off people were when Cutler was legit hurt and they were like, oh, yeah, he's such a quitter. Oh my God. And that was like the downfall of everything. The whole Cutler and the Bears situation. Yeah.
That season broke my fucking heart. That's the season when I stopped being a Jay Cutler fan because Jay Cutler was my fucking hero before then. He was the guy I was like, oh, he's going to make it there. He's going to do it for us, right? And then what happens? Oh, I'm just going to ride this bike. I'm just riding the bike.
The Bears did that man no favors.
They did
with one, putting him out there after halftime.
Yeah.
And then 2, not coming out and saying,
but
he was hurt.
He had a serious injury. If I remember right, it was like a level 2, like I think it was it MCL?
Yeah, grade 2 MCL. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's not something to fuck around
No.
with. Like that's not like
the fact that he came out and tried.
Yeah. Like if that happened to you or me, we wouldn't be that way.
No.
Like we'd be sitting on the couch moaning and bitching and crying.
I do that on a daily, just being me.
Like I get a stomach ache and I'm fucking.
Yeah. Oh, my head hurts. That's me.
Yeah. Like
I get a headache and I'm in a hotel room with no lights on, eating peanuts, drinking Gatorade, and going to sleep at 7:30 at
7
night.
o'clock instead of hanging
That's
out
what
with
I
me.
mean. Right, instead of hanging out with you and Mike,
instead of kicking it with me.
That's right.
But that's what it is, and that's a problem with the media too. Is that we don't always tell the whole story because we don't know the whole story. We just go off of what we think is true. It's all about perception instead of reality.
Right.
And the difference is sometimes massive, and that's something that excites me when we get to talk to these players is that I get to learn their side of the story on a real-time basis. Yeah. I was upset whenever Bernard Berrien left town. I was super fucking pissed.
Yeah, we talked about that before the show last week.
Yeah, and I talked to him personally about it. But after hearing him explain it to me and why he left, I can't fucking blame the guy because if you hear the GM of a team in the background going like, oh my God, they gave him that, like that's enough for me to want to fucking leave. If your boss, if you're on a call with your boss about, maybe potentially leaving where you are for somewhere else, like you did recently, say that you called your old company, right? And you heard the boss in the background laughing about what they offered you. Wouldn't that be enough to leave?
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to, hey, they offered it. I'm going to take it and I'm going to go.
I'm going to go prove you wrong somewhere else.
That's right.
And that's, and that's 100% what he did. And I'm excited for that. I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
But that just shows me that, our franchise as a whole, isn't always run the best. Every organization has its problems. Every organization isn't run perfect. Like I said earlier, Green Bay had Ahmad Green came in and said he wanted to be a fucking scout, and the GM told him he was overqualified to be a scout. Is there such a thing as overqualification in the NFL?
Especially at that position, right? To scout players, don't you want somebody who's overqualified to do it so you can overqualify all your players that you're scouting?
110% yes. The answer is always fucking yes. Yeah. In any walk of life.
I always thought that was the most, well, you're too qualified for this position. Well, then that's a good thing.
Any walk of life, I want the best fucking guy I can get at every spot.
Yep.
And the fact that somebody would say that tells me that's not a good run organization. But they've had a couple quarterbacks fall in their fucking lap. That's why they've been as good as they have. If they haven't, they're going to be a fucking joke. Just like we're waiting patiently for them to be very soon.
Right. But fingers crossed that Justin Fields is the guy.
Hope.
And I don't really want to talk about he who should not be named anymore. What's my boy Darren say?
What about the new guy?
Yeah,
the new guy. So Darren, if you missed it, yes, we already talked about Justin Fields a little bit, but we are very hopeful for Justin Fields. I don't want him to see the field until he's ready, until he's honestly ready. I don't want assumption. I don't want desperation. I want facts. I want to know that this kid is ready day one to go out and play. He can run it and manage an offense effectively, Darren. So to answer your question,
honestly, is there anybody out there who doesn't believe that Justin Fields is better than Andy Dalton at this point? And he's never even played a snap, right? Andy Dalton. That's the only one.
Andy Dalton's wife.
Maybe she, I don't want to say nothing, but maybe she even thinks Justin Fields is the guy.
It's hard to tell, man. And it's just one of those things that I'm really excited to go into camp and see what's going on. I wish they would have kept it in fucking Bourbonnais because
it would have been cool. We could have done a show down there, man.
From Bourbonnais. I'm 30 minutes from Bourbonnais.
We could have did a show down there, crashed at your pad all weekend and week, and that'd have been sweet.
We could have had a blast.
Could have got some players. Speaking of, if there's anybody out there that knows how to get a media pass, feel free to hit me up.
I might actually be able to take care of that.
We would love to get a media pass to get some hot, juicy gossip.
I might have that in for you. We will talk about that later, but I might have that in for you because I have a buddy who used to write a little bit, and he used to go to Bears media, all over the place all the time with them.
Nice.
So I will ask his opinion on how I can go about doing that. But
all right. Well, on that note, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We've had some good conversations in the chat. I didn't put everybody up there.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you.
Yeah, Darren. Chubbs, as always.
My main man, Chubbs.
Always
I'm kind of upset
watching
that
our
Chubbs
shows.
didn't come in.
I was hoping Chubbs would have jumped on with us.
Chubbs to jump on and argue with me a little
maybe
bit.
That's something we can look forward to in one of the next installments of the Sport Court, or if you ever decide to do a show, something like that. Or if I'm back on with Fat Mike, who knows?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, but
it's kind of crazy.
I'm excited to see you back on with Fat Mike tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow night, the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show, baby, is back, and we're gonna kick some ass and take some names and watch some or talk some sports, So, on that note, guys, thanks to our sponsors, Nick and Ivy, John, Darren, and White Oak Farm Venues, and we'll talk to you guys next week or Wednesday or whenever you guys want to chat with us. Go to Bears Fans with the Brain on Facebook. Alan, what's your Twitter? Alan _Bratcher, right?
Yeah, but I gotta get back on that. I had a problem with that. I don't remember my password for that, so I haven't.
Dude, I'm the worst with passwords.
I haven't even messed with it, honestly.
So with me, it's real easy. You can see it on the scroll.
Yeah.
All you have to do is just type in @SportCourtAC and you find me.
Yeah.
Boom. Easy, simple,
easy. And also
peasy.
Remember to go to the 1252 Twitter as well, because that's what I do usually.
1252 Twitter. We got that right here. At 1252_sports.
Yes.
And go like and subscribe our Twitch channel, Facebook, all that stuff. We might be transitioning off of Facebook here pretty soon.
YouTube, baby.
So yeah, hit that YouTube, hit that Twitch. If you get on the Twitch, there's been talks of a friendly competition between some of the members of 1252 and some of the listeners in some MLB The Show. So feel free to follow along and we'll get that.
I'm practicing.
Those details worked out. But thanks again, guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And we'll see you guys again later.
Bye.